Hello and welcome. In this video, we're going to take another look at our P6 practice, the one that focuses in on a simple inventory management system, allows for us to read in a CSV file and store those results inside of an array of structures, do some basic searching in them, and ultimately then return those results to an output file. Now, this video assumes that you have done a significant amount of work already on this project, including looking at the import, display, and copy functions, as well as the export functions. If anything, what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you now a couple of tricks that we can leverage in one of our switches. And so the idea here is that you've earlier completed the ID branch of your switch triaging. And now what we want to do is focus in on the name. Now I have built a couple of helper functions, the display products S, notice the plural, and I've also built another function called copy products, again with a plural. The idea here is that that's going to allow for me to eliminate the need for this for loop inside of our main and instead turn this into somewhat of a compound if statement. And so what I'd like for us to do now is to start off by first attempting to import products, and we will use the same file name that we have been using. That's going to be our products.csv. None of that has changed. And again, what we want to do is we want to use our products array, and we specify the address of N. Now, again, we are going to check to make sure that this particular function returns exit success. And what we're going to do is we're actually going to leverage the fact that C can be short-circuiting. In other words, the first thing that fails in our AND will stop the further execution of any of our functions. And so what do I mean by that? Well, I'm just going to now put my short-circuiting and then on the second step then is I want to simply display all of the products, again with the S, utilizing that products variable that we had passed to the import function. And again, I'm going to specify the N so that it knows when to stop. And again, I'm going to check to see that that one also too returns exit success. And again, I think you can guess what's going to happen here. I'm going to use another short-circuiting and what I'm going to do now is I'm going to pass to the search structs by string exact. In other words, the same example that I did earlier with the ID, with the difference being is I'm going to pass the products, again with an S. I'm going to specify that I want to search the name field, and I'm going to specify that I am looking for whatever the user has passed in its arg square brackets V. In other words, whatever the user, whatever field the user was in fact trying to search. And then the other arguments are going to be the indices, which we talked about earlier, were the locations of the matches, the N, which is essentially the number of products that were imported, and then lastly, the address of M, or the number of matches that were found. Again, remember that that function should return success or failure, even if it doesn't find anything via the search. It's basically going to still be successful as long as there wasn't an error. And again, we're going to combine that with another double ampersand or a short-circuiting and, which will then allow for us to leverage our copy products. Our copy products, again, plural, is going to accept a pair of array of structures. The first one being the sources, which in our case is going to be the products, plural. The destinations, much like in the earlier example, are going to be the results products. You could argue that those are not necessarily the best names. We could have called those source products and destination products. And if you want to, you can go back and change it. We again will provide that same indices that were passed to the search structs that tell us where the matches were found. We will again pass the N. The N simply tells us the length of our products array so that we don't accidentally step off the end of it. And the M tells us the length of the indices array. And just like the other functions, we will simply check to see if there was exit success or exit failure. And again, we're going to combine that with the other ones in a short circuiting operator. And then lastly, we will be able to export products. We can specify now the file name. In this case, it's going to be results.csv. We will pass to it our results products, again, plural, and we have to specify how many elements are in the results products. In this particular case, it's going to be M because that is going to be the number of matches that we found and ultimately want to export. And again, just like the earlier functions, we'll simply have our exit success. Now, let's check to see. We should have some matching parentheses, and it looks like it's worked out. I'm going to then have some open curly braces. That was a very, very long line of code with a lot going on there, so it's probably worth putting in a print statement here that says note successful, or maybe even just successful, because effectively what it means is if you've gotten to this point, every one of those functions has returned exit success. And under the else branch, then what has happened is something went wrong. So something went wrong. And so how about if we just put this as a note? And so at this point, in one if statement, we can drive, in this case, 5 different functions. So let's go and build this and let's give this a test. We'll come out here to the command window. We'll go and clear the command window. We've not yet technically tested our name switch beyond what we did in our first setup video. So we'll start off with our P6 practice. We want to search. We want to search by name, and we probably want to get a suggestion here from our products.csv. How about if we see if we can find Sprite? At this point, you can see here that I'm displaying all of them. Looks promising. And let's look at our results.csv. Now, again, I do know that for y'all, it's probably not very comforting when it gets working the first time. So let's try this with one other product. Let's try our Jumex. And sure enough, we can in fact find our Jumex. And then what if we try something that we have misspelled or doesn't exist? How about if we try our Dr. Pepper, which I don't believe I put in there. And you can see that I have an empty results file. So again, looks very, very, very promising. So I'm going to leave that last one for another video. I'm going to focus in on the type because we want to make sure that we can actually return multiple things. Would encourage you that if you like this approach, that you go back and create the copy products and the display products function, because again, it significantly reduces the amount of code in your main, the same time not hurting the readability, and at the same time really helping with the control of flow in your code. As always, if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, don't hesitate to reach out to me, and thank you for watching.